As we continue here on the Exam Room Podcast, brought to you by the Physicians Committee, we're turning our attention to our Food for Life program, which is really just this extraordinary program where we, our most impassioned members, people who have this keen interest in plant-based nutrition, know the benefits, are studied up on all of the studies that have come out. We then take all of that nutrition knowledge into the community and help to change lives. And one of the people who is doing this in the heart of cattle country, no less, is Melissa Sherlock. She's here with us today. Melissa, welcome to the Exam Room.
Thanks, Chuck. Happy to be with you.
I'm so happy that you're here as well. And you have founded Sherlock True Health, and that's the company that you use to teach your Food for Life courses. I really want to start with this. This is so intriguing to me. You are in Omaha, Nebraska.
Right.
Cattle country, if there ever was cattle country. And here
Yes.
you are teaching plant-based nutrition. How is that?
Well, I have to tell you, it's interesting. We're the home of a very famous steak company named after our city, but I will tell you that after I got certified to teach Food for Life, the first thing I did was come back and approach our community college here to teach a class series. And what happened was that I capped the class at 20 students because, I'm cooking food and serving it. And they accidentally had a registration error and let in 21, and there were people on the waiting list. That was my very first indication that there is, in fact, a lot of interest in it here. And, in the eastern part of the state, we are pretty cosmopolitan. People have heard about it. The western part of the state, a little bit slower, of course, to take this up. And I'm very cognizant of the fact that I live in a state where people make their livelihood from animal agriculture, but I do think that there is a big growing interest in health, and the interest that I've had it surprised even me. It really surprised the community college. They wanted 6 people to sign up, and we let in 21 and we had to turn people away. The second class I taught at the very same place was full a month and a half or 2 months before it started, which was unheard of for the community college. So there you go.
Holy
right
moly,
here.
look at you, rock star.
Maybe I said the right words. I did not call it healthy eating. I didn't call it healthy cooking. I said, plant-based cooking. So I wasn't trying to sugarcoat it or anything like that, and still people signed up. And so I've just been going ever since.
So I want to take it back before you ever started learning about plant-based nutrition yourself. Growing up, did you grow up in Nebraska as well?
I did. I'm born and raised in Omaha.
So what was your diet like growing up? Were you the traditional beef-eating family?
Yes, we always had meat at the center of the meal. We were meat and potatoes, but my mom grew up on a farm here in Nebraska, and she was a big veggie eater. So we always had a salad on the table, always, and we always had at least one other vegetable. So we had the salads and vegetables, but we always had meat.
And when did you first discover plant-based nutrition? Because even though you say that the eastern part of the state is more cosmopolitan, I believe was kind of how you put it, I can't imagine that it's still as prevalent as it might be on, say, the east or west coast of the United States.
Definitely not. It always takes things a little bit longer to come into the heartland, but we eventually get there. I think for me, I knew vegetarians, and I have to say that I was the person that thought that vegetarians were just trying to get attention. They were just trying to be a little edgy and a little out there. And I thought that. But I think sometime after my father died, I watched a CNN Sanjay Gupta special called The Last Heart Attack, and I was still grieving my father. And the whole premise of that program is that we don't have to have all of this heart disease. And I was riveted. I was riveted to that. I couldn't believe what I was hearing. It was kind of a new message to me how impactful the diet was. I was always a healthy eater. Don't eat fast food, soda, all of that stuff, but I did eat meat and cheese and tried to eat healthier meats and cheeses, ground turkey instead of ground beef and all those things just because I have an interest in health.
Hmm.
But the fact that our diet was that impactful to heart disease really hit me, and I quit eating meat and dairy after watching that special.
Okay.
So it was after my father died. And then of course, like many people, when you start getting into it, you just start reading everything you possibly can. You watch all the films, you start digging into the studies. And so after my father died, sometime after that, I got laid off from my corporate job. And I really wanted to do something with this. And so I got certified in plant-based nutrition through T. Colin Campbell's program. And then I wanted more. And so I actually found out that there was a brand new program at Creighton University here in Omaha. And it was this brand new program called Lifestyle Medicine. And I actually went back to school, which was a really hard thing, but wildly just empowering. And I got a graduate certificate in lifestyle medicine from Creighton. And then it was after that that I found out about the Food for Life program. And so then I got certified in Food for Life. So all of that happened before my mother passed away.
Okay. So yeah, you were already overhauling your life at that point.
Yes.
But you said that really the crux of this was the CNN special. And when we first started chatting here at the beginning of the interview, you said that growing up you viewed vegetarians as people who just wanted attention. So what was it that made the CNN special so different? Why did that one click in your brain and not the vegetarians that you knew growing up?
Well, because I really believe that when people make a drastic change in their diet, there's often some kind of a trigger. And the trigger for me was that I was still grieving my father. And so the evidence that was presented and the doctors that were in this program that literally said we don't have to have this heart disease, and in many places in the world they don't have this heart disease, and it's based on diet, it hit me hard. It hit me hard. And it just made sense to me. And so it didn't matter what I thought before. I had new knowledge and I went forward with that new knowledge. And that's what I try to do with people. I try to help them understand why it's a good idea and why it is so impactful for health so that they can make different decisions going forward.
And you started acquiring all of this knowledge for yourself, but at what point did you decide, hey, I really need to become a teacher and also share this with others? Was it really the motivation just so they wouldn't have to go through what you just experienced with your father?
Yes, that's a big part of it. The first thing was that I didn't want our kids having to rush to the hospital because of a sudden heart event. I was really trying to take care of my heart, but then the more you learn that the diet that is good for the heart is good for every system in the body. And so then you really do want to share that. You really do want to share it. So after I finished at Creighton, I was just having groups of friends over to show them easy ways to get started. And then I found Food for Life, which is just such a great program, and it has the credibility of being put together by doctors and dietitians and nutrition experts, and it has a great curriculum, several curricula to start with, and so it was perfect for me. It was the exact next thing for me. So when I went through Creighton's program, there you could take it a little further and become more of a clinician, and that's just not what I was interested in. I really love helping people get hands-on because I know that it can be overwhelming for people. They absolutely freeze when they think about how they're going to do this. Many people do. Some people can go off on their own and just go for it. But many people, they just need to get over a hump in their thinking about what they're plate looks like and what their meals are going to be like. And that's what I love the most. I absolutely love being in the kitchen with people, showing them, having them taste it and smell it, and using all of their senses to learn. And when they do that, it's just they take off. They just take off like a rocket. So that is really where I find the greatest satisfaction. A lot of times when I have a class, that class will kind of bond,
Mm-hmm.
and they will actually continue to get together after the class series ends, which is, it's just so great because part of what the classes do is it gives you community. You're not all alone trying this. You have other people that you're sharing ideas with and that you can talk to afterwards, after the class is over. So yeah, the relationships have expanded exponentially, and it's really, really fabulous.
Yeah, and I just recently got my certification to teach as well. I'm very much looking forward to beginning my first series of classes.
Great.
So shoot me a message on
Oh,
Facebook.
yeah.
Look me up there, and we can get you rocking and rolling in the Washington, D.C. Area. But you are out in Omaha, and I understand that you have a one-day workshop coming up. When is that?
Yes, so for people, some people, it's hard for them to commit to a 5 week class series that, most of mine, it meets on one night a week for 5 weeks. And so some people have trouble committing to that. They have kids at home, they have things going on, and that's difficult. So I created a Food for Life one-day workshop where it's kind of the best of all of it. It's the best, all the teaching and cooking that I can pack in.
Mm-hmm.
I say it's one day, but it usually is from 10 to 3. And I actually get the students to be hands-on with the recipes. And so we're learning. I do lots of presentations from the Food for Life curricula, and then we all get started putting together the food, and then we share a buffet lunch. And so they're actually getting hands-on, which is really fun. But it's then they can go away with what I look at it and market it as. You are going to leave here with these easy, delicious, nutritious meals to start rolling into your meal rotation, because we all kind of have those things that we make over and over again. We have the meal rotation. Here are some that you can start rolling into your rotation right away when you leave this class.
So, if you want to be like Melissa Sherlock, guess what? There is a Food for Life training seminar coming up next February in Los Angeles, February 27th and 28th to be exact. But you have to act fast to get your applications in because the deadline for that is November 13th. Okay, so that is right around the corner. And to put in your application to become a Food for Life instructor, head over to ffltraining.org. That's ffltraining.org. FFL, of course, just think Food for Life. And Melissa, I'm sure that this has been one of the best decisions that you ever made in your life. I hate to oversell it, but you just
Yeah,
seem like you're so happy doing this.
I am, and it was a great decision. I absolutely love what I do.
All right. Again, that is SherlockTrueHealth.com. True with the U, but no E. SherlockTrueHealth.com. Melissa Sherlock, thank you so very much for your time.
Thank you, Chuck.
If you like that interview and you want more of it, go ahead and subscribe to this YouTube channel. Leave a nice comment below. And for the full interview, also head over to Apple Podcast and subscribe to the Exam Room Podcast by the Physicians Committee. New episodes with information and inspiration each and every Wednesday.